Welcome to the Pharma Prescribed Podcast. I'm Adam Walker, a biometrics consultant looking to uncover the real stories behind life science leaders in clinical research. Today, we have the honor of hosting Yurii Lebid, the dynamic CEO of Pharmaxi, a leading contract research organization based in Ukraine. Yurii's journey is nothing short of inspirational. Since the onset of the conflict on February 24th, 2022, he's not only persevered, but has continued to lead and innovate in the face of adversity. Pharmaxi LLC is a contract research organization with a keen focus on the regions of Ukraine and Poland. The organization offers a comprehensive range of services in the realms of clinical trials, with emphasis on reg affairs, clinical monitoring, and data management. Under his supervision, they've developed online CRF, an in-house electronic data capture tool, which enables efficient and accurate clinical data collection and trial monitoring. As the leader of Pharmaxi, his personal objective is to establish a solid foundation for organic company growth, while fostering a motivating work environment to attract talented and self-driven professionals. Join us today as we delve into Yurii's remarkable story, exploring what drew him into the life sciences industry and how he's navigated the challenges to drive Pharmaxi's success. Yurii, welcome. It's great to see you again. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you, Adam, for this wonderful introduction. I'm happy to be here today with you.
It's been a little while since we last spoke, but for our audience who are not aware of your background, perhaps you could give them an idea of how you came into the industry and how life is for you now.
I came into the industry in not a simple way. I graduated medical university, and then I decided that my passion closer to a scientific area, not practical medicine. I started my scientific work in one of the leading Ukrainian institutes, Ukrainian Academy of Science. I decided that I have to think about family, money, not my personal inspirations, not a good salary for young scientists. I decided that I have to do something. There were two alternatives. One alternative is trying to make money fast, but no future. Another alternative was that I can start making something step by step, learning new things, became more and more professional, and then earning better money. During the years, I selected the second option, and I'm happy with that because I have found clinical research industry as a promising industry. And unfortunately, in our university, we do not have good course dedicated to clinical research. And everything I know about clinical research was my self-education. I was starting from the creation of the protocol by myself. I came through all this expertise and all this knowledge by myself. And it gave me then opportunity to evaluate people, to train them, to help them in many aspects of clinical trial. And now I have a company and provide everything from study design to final study report preparation. My dream come true, and I'm happy about it.
That's a remarkable story. Thank you for sharing. It sounds like you learned through doing and you had an entrepreneurial thread that runs through you from day one. You've always had that, as well as that scientific and medical background that drives your professional passion. Is that fair?
Yes, I think passion is a key word because it drove me and motivates me a lot. Understand the overall impact of this industry for treatment of challenging disease, etc. Since I really like medicine, I like science, then my passion towards clinical research was enough to overcome huge challenges because no one loves newcomers in clinical trials world. Sponsors want to cooperate with well-established company with 20 years history, and it was just one of the serious different challenges we overcome. This motivation survived only because it was passion from inside.
That's wonderful. It's the chicken and egg situation many new companies find. How do you get that first contract through the door when they want to know what your experience has been? No one wants to know that they're the first, right? So
Yes.
you either don't tell them or you offset them against slightly warmer story around others that are interested in your services.
Exactly. It's a huge problem when we speak with client. They say, okay, let's show your story and your portfolio. And we say, trust our eyes, our motivation, and our willingness to do as best as possible.
You've just recently had your 10th anniversary for Pharmaxi, is that correct?
Yes.
Congratulations for that. But bearing in mind that the last years have been challenging for you, perhaps you could rewind a little and tell us how that's been and how that's played out for you. We've lived through a pandemic, hoping we don't have to experience another one, but that was challenging for everyone globally. And then on the back of that, the worst thing happened imaginable for you. Can you just rewind and if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit of your experience around that with our audience?
It could be a very long story. I tried to make it short. So I never believed that it could happen. And it was a lot of rumors starting from November 2021. I was not prepared for the war itself. But since we are in Ukraine and each 3-4 years we have some crisis originated from political, financial, and other standpoints, we were prepared for any type of crisis because of those lessons learned. When war started, we relocated to western regions of Ukraine because it was a big risk to be occupied, and Russians wanted to block Kyiv from west, including our satellite city close to Kyiv. During the first week, it was almost no chance that Ukraine will stay. And one day I even thinking that maybe it's over when Russian tanks appeared on some streets of Kyiv. It was painful for me because I know how to operate as entrepreneur here in Ukraine. I know how to train people, how to select them. I know everything here. And all this knowledge will be not so important for other country if I would relocate and start building company somewhere in the world. Therefore, it was huge pain for me. And I was trying to balance company to convince client that we can continue at least remote services. And I was thinking about my employees because it was a situation of absolute chaos. Can you imagine that it's 22nd February and salary should be in a week? Many of them do not really know if they will have money in a week. And maybe they will starve and maybe company will not support them because everything is over and they need money to relocate, to rent some apartment somewhere outside of Kyiv, a situation of complete chaos. Thinking about it, I understood that I have to support them. And I collected everyone in the day of invasion. I gave several promises. I've said that no one will be fired during the next 6 months. And I will pay salaries in full no matter what. Even if we lose all our contracts, if we will have no money from outside, I have obligation to pay salaries for 6 months. And I was ready to lose millions to support my people. And I think it was one of the best decisions to save company.
That's incredible. And to have taken that action must have been very difficult. On the one hand, this is your baby, right? I know you
Yes.
have a daughter, but your business is your baby. How many people did you have on the payroll at that time?
Around 30, 28.
Wow. All of those people had to relocate their families, their lives. I remember when we spoke at the time, people were working remotely because of the pandemic, weren't they? I remember you saying about phone lines being down, internet being an issue, safety, certain times of day when you could travel or couldn't travel. And then I recall from previous conversations with you, there was an inclination to move women and children to the safest parts of the West, to the west of the country, correct? I mean, it's an incredible story of resilience and heartwarming to hear that, but actually with the genuine concern and honesty with which you approached that. I remember seeing things on the news that were so traumatic to watch, and having spoken to you and WhatsApping, I just wanted you to know from not just my point of view, but everyone in the UK and everyone watching from the outside, how terrible that looked. At the time, I was working with colleagues in Warsaw, and they felt very nervous. They'd opened their borders in Poland, and it felt like we'd gone back 70, 80 years. I wasn't in it, but you were.
Yes. It was darkest times in my life.
Yeah. And, I can't thank you enough for telling that story and telling your truth. There is an underlying resilience and strength within you that clearly was always there. But I'm sensing that you gained some new skills and resilience that you didn't think you had before. Is that a fair comment? Can you speak to that point?
Yes, actually, I could act those days because I cannot see any other option. It was just one option. I have to speak with clients, try to convince those clients to not stop current trials. I have to say that we can deliver remote services, statistics, data management to new clients. I conducted 90 calls during the 30 days of the invasion, trying to speak with people and find new contracts, and it saved the company because several months we paid salaries and our money is evaporating very fast. Therefore, I was trying to do I have to do. I remember this feeling as legs in the sand when there is a huge background of news, stress, uncertainty, but I have to move forward. So maybe it make something with me. Maybe now I am more confident that I can manage different type of crisis within my company. And if before the war I was not sure about future of the company, stability, would we find enough contracts for us, it was not completely clear for me. After this story, I think we passed this severe test, and now I am quite confident that nothing will happen with the company if we survived the full-scale invasion.
I'm wondering about the logistics. You had trials ongoing, not just in Ukraine, but in other places. How did those trials continue, or did they go on hold if they were based in Ukraine? Were there areas where clinical research could continue?
The majority of trials were on hold. Those days we've had no other presence. We didn't have a Polish company. So almost all trials have been put on hold. During 2 or 3 months, we restarted one trial. And it was really impressive that enrollment were higher, better than before the war. I was very surprised, but then I understood that since many big companies stopped their activities in Ukraine, this clinic gave our patients to our trial. It showed that we can deliver even better enrollment than before the war. And then the second trial have been renovated. It was Canadian biotech, and they came to us, and it was really helpful. One company also came to us, and they were asking clinical performance study for their device within 6 months. And I was waving, could we really perform clinical trial for 6 months? And I called to the regulatory agency, and they said they could provide approval within 1 month. Then I decided we can try, and we did this study in a very short timeline. Therefore, it is the story of those days in 2022.
That's wonderful, and thank you for sharing. So, how has that played out for you since? I gather that you established a company in Poland. Pharmaxi now exists in Poland as well. Did that open opportunities both in Poland and beyond across Europe? Is that how it played out for you?
Poland now, big portion of our overall business. Clients are coming to Poland because of big population, because huge number of good study sites. Yes, there are some delays with regulatory. So regulatory process is longer in Poland than in Ukraine. And the contracting process with investigators is also longer than in Ukraine. Overall, we have a very good place for clinical trials. Now we have a quite big number of incoming requests when people is looking for CRO support in Poland. Therefore, it's quite rapidly evolving picture in our company.
How have you split that across the two geographies with regards to your staff? How many do you have in each location? Do they work autonomously?
Yes, they can work autonomously. We sometimes do centralized activities from Ukraine, and Poland is focusing on local activities like regulatory and site monitoring, 30% in Poland and 70% in Ukraine. In terms of new and upcoming projects, it goes closer to 40-60%. That dynamic in Poland is quite good.
I've done lots of work in Poland over the last few years. There are a lot of big pharma making significant investments, not just in Warsaw, but in various other parts of the country. It's a really interesting place with some very highly skilled individuals. I've been nothing less than impressed by the people I've come across, not just linguistically, but scientifically. Their education is really strong. From a cultural point of view, I think there is a very close alignment with us from the UK, but actually a close dynamic around the cultures in Poland and the UK. So I've gotten very well with colleagues there. We've had a lot of fun, and I can speak to a lot of nice places that I've been to in Warsaw. So you do quite a bit of traveling these days. Watching your LinkedIn feed, you appear to be at many conferences. Are you being invited now as a keynote speaker? Are you talking about your experiences? How is that for you?
Yes, now I am invited as a speaker to say how company could survive during disaster.
Yeah.
And since we created some pillars of the long-term stability of the company before the crisis, I try to explain to audience that you can think about some important elements of company resilience. If any type of crisis will happen, I will not say about war, I am saying about environmental crisis, political crisis, and energy crisis, anything, then these several principles could help companies survive if some actions will be implemented beforehand when waters are calm, when there is no time pressure. In this moment, a company could easily build resilience. But if some crisis happen, then there is no time for preparation, and it's a big losses for company, and some companies do not even survive because they are totally unprepared.
Yeah, you've touched on effectively, I think, disaster recovery planning. Most CROs and pharma companies I work with definitely have an SOP around that. I don't think they have a lived experience other than experience of the pandemic. Disaster recovery is clearly at the forefront of everything that you and Pharmaxi have achieved over this last 3 or 4 years. I recall talking to you, there were quite a number of restrictions on travel, weren't there? So are there now freedom of movement across borders? Are you able to travel to the west of the country and through Poland into the rest of Europe now?
Now we have a lot of restrictions. People from 18 to 60 are not allowed to cross the border. I need special status and permission to cross the border. Since our company belongs to critical infrastructure, we have rights to reserve people from mobilization. And it also gives rights for crossing the border for business reasons. So I cannot cross border for just vacation. I have to provide evidences that it's business reasons. And then actually I just returned from travel, which has taken more than 1 month. I try to speak with people to show that Ukraine is living, everything works, and the traffic in Kyiv is like in any city. So we live usual life, and maybe we even more focused on productivity and efficiency than other calmer states and countries. I try to speak with people personally, to speak from the stage on some meetings and conferences.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm wondering, your experiences, both personally and professionally, presumably have changed your perspective on what's important. What have you learned of yourself, your family, the people around you?
Maybe the most important thing is that I truly realized that country and motherland means a lot. I can think about it theoretically before the war. I was never thinking about immigration and living in different countries, but now it's like a proved thesis, proved idea, because I can compare my feeling when I relocated to different city, not different country. And when I relocated to Lviv, it was a different feeling inside, as like similar to background stress, and they cannot identify the source of the stress. And when I get back to my home, it evaporates immediately. So I felt myself rooted, and then my productivity and life became happier and more productive. It was the biggest discovery that our home is our castle.
It's an incredible point. It's something that my wife and I talk about a lot. We've got children who are not 22 and 20. They're both at university, but they love coming home because this is their safe space where they can just be kids if they want to be kids. It's a really important point that not just home is where the heart is, but you made the point earlier around doing your best work when the distractions, when you need to be in that headspace to get things done. I do remember what that was like during the pandemic. As a family of four, we sat down and said, we are going to have to really knuckle down here. We're going to have to just crack on and look after one another, make sure that we do our best, that we save ourselves physically and emotionally, because that felt like a wartime fatigue for me and my family. I remember protecting the people around us being the most important thing. Without family, what do you have?
Yes.
I really appreciate you sharing that, Yurii. I think our listeners will also appreciate that. Looking forward now, you've passed that 10-year anniversary, which is remarkable, and congratulations for that. I'd love to know what your thoughts are around what you'd like to do with your wonderful colleagues that you've supported through this really difficult time.
So you are asking about future?
Yes.
I think that the first problem was to stabilize company. We achieved that. And now we are like in the stable position with a good pipeline, with well workload right now. So we have been stabilized, and my dream is to come again growth. I suppose each company could grow steadily or faster. Each company should grow. It is a new wind for employees. It is opportunity to occupy new positions. So it is this dynamics should be in the company. And my next idea and dream is to get to a company growth. Therefore, now I invest a lot time and money traveling and speaking with people. We can deliver good service, wonderful enrollment rate, very good quality. Customers could use this moment because it is unique. It's a fruitful space for clinical trials, many trained investigators, no competition with other trials, good cost effectiveness. So it's like an ideal and temporarily available situation because of those theoretical risks, which mathematically are not so high. I did not relocate my family. My daughter and my wife live with me because real danger of damage is not higher than car accident statistically. It's a beautiful space for clinical trials. If more customer will know about that, then we will come to growth, opening new positions, inviting talented people to the company. It's my desire. I think that when war will come to the end, we will turn to the mode of seeking new clients, to the company scaling, because we are now most famous Ukrainian CRO. And sometimes when customers speak with me, they say that people in Ukraine from different industries, and they thought that Pharmaxi could help you. So only one name now well known in Ukraine. Therefore, when this negative background and war-related risk will be evaporated, then I expect that it will be very good time for company scale.
That's brilliant. I'm so pleased for you, not just for you personally, but for your business. The fact that you have that outlook and that you've turned a situation that could have been terminal into something where there is a positive future for not just you, your colleagues, your family, the country. There is an awful lot of support outside of your country for your people. I hope that's clear when you travel and in the conversations we've had over the years as well. I remember the first post you put out. It was a picture of your daughter on Independence Day. I seem to remember in the square, and it resonated with me. I sent you a direct message on LinkedIn, and from that point, we were connected and spoke regularly. I think that was a very powerful message that you put out on that particular day. And there are human stories behind every situation. And you really are a testament to that. We're with you. I think it's important that you know that.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your experiences, Yurii. I'd love to have another conversation in the future. What I like to do at the end of the conversation is finish with some quick fire questions, if you wouldn't mind. Bearing in mind some of the things we've talked about, they might be even more relevant. Is there one piece of advice you would give to your younger self, bearing in mind some of the things you've talked about today?
Maybe you shouldn't think more about fears. You have to think more about opportunities. Fears very much restrict us, and they are theoretical and not real. The number of those theoretical fears in my younger age were less, then my progress would have been better.
That's wonderful. With the benefit of wisdom and age, we definitely learn more through our negative experiences, but also some of those things you worry about just never come true. What are the top 3 qualities you value most when building a team?
The first quality is honesty. I have many questions in my structured interview when I can understand the honesty of the person. And there is nothing about qualification. Even super qualified person will not be hired by our company if there are doubts in honesty. And the second moment I try to evaluate is the level of intrinsic motivation. And when I ask why you want to come in clinical research, I'm not listening. I see the person's eyes. And if there is a fire in the eye, then yes, it's our person. If there is just theoretical statements with no fire, no.
I love that. Do I have the fire in my eyes?
Yes.
Thank you. I put you on the spot there.
Yeah.
The fact that we're still having these conversations speaks to that as well.
The third one is the ability to learn new things. And if I just ask about it, every person says, sure, I like to learn new things every time. So it's difficult to evaluate a real situation. And I try to ask some things to understand if this person really open for a continuous learning of new things. And in clinical trials, it's a long run. Situation is changing very fast and the regulation is changing. We are dealing with different types of projects. We need people who are fans learning new things.
Clinical research changes all the time. The regulations are changing. Certainly the challenges are never the same in 2 different days. Doesn't matter what phase you're working in, rare disease, real world evidence. It's whether or not you come with a growth mindset, isn't it? It's the open mind and open heart. Would you tell us and the audience, what's your favorite thing outside of work?
Tennis. I like tennis.
Are you still very good at it? Are you still winning?
Yes, sometimes I participate in amateur tournaments. I try to play 3-4 times per week. It gives me a fresh mind again. It's a huge, and the nervous system should be reloaded. A way of just sitting after work, and brain will not be refreshed just sitting or even watching TV. It's not so intense shifting to the different type of action. But tennis, when I can see just ball and the score on the table, my mind became fresh again.
What's your best action? Is it forehand, backhand, smash, lob? Forehand. It's forehand down the line. Are you left or right-handed?
Yes, right-handed. Yes.
Right-handed. I'm a lefty. I can't do anything right. That's my joke.
Are super creative. Therefore, you invent new things of doing ordinary things.
That's my excuse. I'll stick to that one. Yeah, I like that. Thank you so much. And Yurii, finally, what is your number one golden rule for life and for business?
Number one golden rule is that I have to do everything from passion and from internal energy and internal fire. I know many stories when smart people trying to calculate, they were not thinking about heart, they were thinking about numbers, and they were thinking, oh, this industry is better. I will go to construction and go to university to know how to construct things. I don't like it, but good money there. Money will compensate my internal discomfort. 20, 25 years past, I speak with those persons and they are not happy. Therefore, for all young people who think about money first or passion first, I would say that passion is first and then money will find you anywhere.
Is that what you say to your daughter?
Yes.
I'd say the same to my kids. What's your daughter's name, if you don't mind me asking?
Irina.
I'm sure she has enormous pride for the work that you're doing and for the work you're doing with Pharmaxi, spreading the word of the experiences you've had over the last few years.
Thank you.
It's been a wonderful conversation, Yurii. I wanted to thank you for your honesty, openness, and for sharing your story. I'm so pleased it's playing out so well for you. For our audience, if they want to reach out to you, I know we have a lot of listeners, of course, across pharma, life sciences. How would they be best placed to make contact with you?
Maybe the best way is to contact me via LinkedIn. I read LinkedIn and I open to new connections. It's great to speak with brilliant people, and industry is full of bright personalities. And I really love when our business relationships converting to personal friendship and personal relationships. And it is the big beauty of my work and this industry. We can speak with bright, smart, passionate people and exchange ideas and enrich our life emotionally and intellectually.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Interestingly, I've also just come back from a conference in Frankfurt. As you say, people are aligned around their purpose, but the principles and values with which they come to work, I've always found that to be the thing that connects people, irrespective of what their job is, what their job title is, where they're located. We all have that passion. The shared passion is to do good for the greater good, to serve patients, of course, to bring medicines to market as quickly as we can, but do it with a smile on our face and to share our stories of incredible resilience, but also what could we do better? Often the best conversations are the ones that are unplanned, unstructured, and just play out the way they are. Yurii, it's been an absolute delight speaking to you today. And thank you for coming on Pharma Prescribed Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Thank you for invitation. And I hope that we will speak later on a personal level, and maybe common project will come later.
I would love that. As the finishing point, let's make that happen. Thank you, Yurii.
Thank you very much.